For week one of the NFL playoffs, we'll be taking a look at the Lions versus the Chiefs. The spread is set at -6.5 at the moment. If I do have to pick a team here, Chiefs playing at home. This is a Thursday night game as well, so prime time. Uh, Definitely hammer home the -6.5. The money line's not really worth it. The value's not there. So if you want to buy points, for sure, buy down 1.5 points to -5 for Kansas City. I think this is without a doubt an easy pick. The over and under is 54.5. I'd stay away from. I think it could get up to that range. For 54.5 to hit, you would need at least 2 touchdowns every single quarter in. Truly, I don't see that happening from the Lions side, and Kansas City would have to do the bulk of that work. So I'm going to go with Kansas City here at -6.5. For the Carolina Panthers versus the Atlanta Falcons, I would stay away from the spread right now. I know people are a little interested considering the game's going to be played in Atlanta at home in the Dome, and it's set at -3.5. It's kind of a trap line, right? Usually -2.5 or -3 for the push is where to go. Anything near that 3.5, 4.5, 5.5, not really worth it, because realistically speaking, teams usually win by 2 or 3 or by at least 6 or more. So anything in the range of 3 or 6 for spreads, I always stay away from. In that case, always just take either the money line on the underdog if there's value. If not, go to the over-under. And here we're looking at an over-under of 39.5. No need to even buy points. 40 is not a lot. That's only 10 points a quarter, a touchdown and a field goal per quarter. If you do get 2 touchdowns in each of the first 2 quarters, you're already looking at 28 points in the first half and need 12 points in the second, which is so easy to do considering that both of these teams are kind of, believe it or not, I don't know why this line set it as what it is, but they're high-octane offenses. And what I mean by that is Bryce Young, he's a gunslinger. I know people don't trust the offense yet, but I do see him putting on a performance. So Bryce Young, I could easily see the Carolina Panthers putting up 25 or even 30 points. I do have them beating the Falcons. I wouldn't take the spread. I would just take the money line on this one. So this next game is actually pretty tough to decide between, right? It's going to be the Bengals and Browns. It's going to be played in Cleveland, Ohio. Weather right now is projected for 73 degrees Fahrenheit, which is pretty nice, considering that they're expecting slight clouds, but mostly sun, so that's fantastic, right? Good weather means good offense, right? If you have slush, any sort of precipitation for that matter, sometimes it impairs the way the quarterback is dealing the offense. So we're looking at a spread of -2.5 set by default for the Bengals versus the Browns. I love this. I don't think the Browns really have a great season, but Joe Burrow is Joe Burrow. So if he is starting, I know he's questionable. If he is starting, I would take the -2.5. If Joe Burrow is not under helm for the Cincinnati Bengals, stay away from the spread completely. And honestly, your best value at this point, if Joe Burrow is not playing, take the Browns. Nick Chubb is going to have a performance, no doubt. The over-under is set at 47.5. I would definitely take the over if Joe Burrow is playing. If Joe Burrow is absent, take the under, only because it's either going to be a low-scoring affair or the Browns slip away and it's a high-scoring, octane offense from them and low-scoring for the Bengals. So, again, only take the over if Joe Burrow is playing. If Joe Burrow is out, take the under. The spread is -2.5 with Joe Burrow in. If Joe Burrow is not playing, take Cleveland Browns. This next game here, we have the Jacksonville Jaguars versus the Indianapolis Colts, which will be played in Indianapolis, Indiana. It's going to be played at Lucas Oil Stadium, so in the Dome, which means weather impairment is extremely unlikely and can lead to great offenses, right? We're not going to deal with any impairments here. And over-under is set at 45. Jacksonville is -5 for the current spread. I do like the spread a lot, only because it's Trevor Lawrence, who just year over year is just having better performance in terms of variance for passing yards and passing touchdowns. I know his turnovers are a bit of a scare, but with Calvin Ridley as your number 1 wide receiver, with Christian Kirk as your number 2, I can see this offense going many, many places. And then as we head over to the Indianapolis Colts here, you have Ellinger as your quarterback, backup being Minshew. So there's not many options. And then if you take a look at the over-under, we're sitting at 45. So right now, I would probably stay away from the over-under only because I think Jacksonville is going to put up a bulk of the points. And in order for this over to actually hit a 45, I already see the Jacksonville Jaguars putting up at least 20 to 28 points, which means the Colts would need to put up anywhere from 15 to 20, depending on what the Jaguars finish with, and I just don't see that. I see maybe one touchdown at most by Ehlinger. If he does score 2 touchdowns, then obviously I could see this over hitting, but if Ehlinger has only 1 touchdown and there's a couple field goals in there from the Colts, I just don't see this over being even close to hitting. So I'd stay away from the over-under completely and just take Jacksonville -5. For the next game, we're taking a look at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers versus the Minnesota Vikings. We really don't have quarterbacks to deal with here. I know Kirk Cousins is the quarterback at helm for the Minnesota Vikings, and the Buccaneers, ever since Brady is retired, they don't really have one. Trask is their hopeful aspiration in terms of quarterback, but we're going to be going into week 1 at US Bank Stadium, which is Minneapolis, Minnesota. Going to be played in the Dome area, so weather impairment, very unlikely. Again, I'm a huge advocate of any domes where these games can be played in, so you can truly see the reality of each and every offense that is played out, right? So if it is raining, there's a good chance that players are going to be slipping and they won't be able to use their full potential, both from a skill and ability standpoint, or standpoints for that matter, sorry. So yeah, we're looking at a spread of Minnesota -6 versus the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I love this. If you can buy, I wouldn't even buy. I'd probably just take the -6, honestly. So -6 Minnesota for sure. Over-under is 45. It's going to be played in Minnesota, but Dalvin Cook is out, and Justin Jefferson is the bulk of the offense. I'd probably stay away from this one again. I think it would come down close. It's probably going to be either garbage time points that would help this over hit, or it'd be nail-biting towards the end for this under to hit. Really, you would have to hope for no offenses to really score in the fourth quarter. I do see Justin Jefferson scoring, so if you're interested in taking a prop bet, for sure, take Justin Jefferson. I would even double down and put him for 2+ touchdowns this weekend. He could go off. Next game here, we have the Tennessee Titans versus the New Orleans Saints. This will be played in the Caesar Superdome. So again, another dome. Love this. Over-under is actually set at 41, which I kind of find ridiculous. I know it's because they have Derek Carr or Jameis Winston, depending on who they're deciding on the starting quarterback. It's probably going to be Derek Carr over there, but Olave, love him. He's a great wide receiver for New Orleans, so I actually project them to score at least anywhere from 17 to 28 points. And if the over set at 41, you only need really at most 13 points from the Titans then, right? I would definitely take this over if it's by default set at 41 or even 40.5 or 41.5. Take the over for sure. This could actually hit after 3 quarters. So I would take the over-under. Plus you have Derrick Henry, who's a guaranteed 2 touchdowns. Not every week, but he can do it. So if you want to take a prop bet as well, take Derrick Henry 2+ touchdowns. And then the spread's set at -3. I would honestly stay away from the spread or money lines for this game. I think it's going to be a tough battle. Most projection or analyses that I'm looking at are 50-50 for both teams. So it's too much of a nail biter. I think this will come down to like the last 5 minutes of the fourth quarter, and then you'd find your definitive winner from there. But yeah, I'll just take the over 41, and that's what we're looking at for this game. For the next game, we're looking at the San Francisco 49ers versus the Pittsburgh Steelers. This will play in Pittsburgh, PA, which is going to be an outdoor facility. And by outdoors, I mean obviously most of these are outdoors, but there's going to be no dome here, so no way to control most of the weather be taking place. But it is projected for 75 degrees Fahrenheit, completely sunny, so there shouldn't be any weather impairments. The over-under is set at 41, with Christian McCaffrey as your running back for San Francisco and Najee Harris as your running back in Pittsburgh. I know San Francisco is known for have a high-octane defense. They're actually projected to be top 3 in terms of defensive performance for the year for this season. So the over-under set at 41, but believe it or not, I'm going over here. I do think both running backs put on a show, and I do think there's just high-octane weapons. You got Kittle, you got Samuel, and then over on the side of the Pittsburgh Steelers, you have Deontay Johnson and Najee Harris. These offenses could collide, and it could be definitely a fun thing to watch. I would stay away from the spread and the money lines completely. If I had to pick a money line, I'm probably going Pittsburgh, only because when Pittsburgh plays at home, I don't know what it is with Coach Tomlin, but he finds a way to win, even against the better teams. So take Pittsburgh money line if you had to pick one. This next game here is going to be extremely tough to watch. Whether you're a Cardinals fan or a Commanders fan, I hate to break the news to you. It's just going to be boring. Over-under is set at 38 for this game. It's going to be played in Washington and at FedEx Field. So they're projected at 81 degrees Fahrenheit, completely sunny, so that's good. No weather impairments. But the over-under 38, I mean, it's probably going to push, or it just be right around it, right under it by a point or two, or right over it by a point or two. So I'd stay away. It's going to be a low-scoring affair with Kyler Murray out for Arizona. The spread is set at -7 for Washington. I do think Washington could pull away and win this game, but this is honestly a coin flip for me. I know many analysts are projecting Washington to win by at least a touchdown, but I would stay away from almost every single line that's offered in this game. I think it's going to be extremely boring to watch. But if I had to pick a prop bet, I'd probably go Robinson Jr., running back for the Commanders. I would probably place him to have at least a touchdown. If you are feeling a little risky, you could even go 2 touchdowns. If there are a total amount of touchdowns that I could get for this game, I'd probably project 3, which is 21 points, and the rest would have to come for field goals for that over to hit. But yeah, I would definitely pick that as the prop bet. Brian Robinson Jr. to finish with at least a touchdown. Next game here, we have the Houston Texans versus the Baltimore Ravens. This game will also be played will be played at M&T Bank Stadium, which is in Baltimore, Maryland. 82 degrees is the weather projected for the day. Sorry about that. Completely sunny. Over-under is set at 43.5 by default right now. That's just what I'm looking at for each bookie. Like I said, all these over and unders and lines can vary. They change rapidly, right? Day over day, or even hour by hour, really. So right now I'm seeing it 43.5. I would probably stay away from the over-under in this game, only because if Davis Mills isn't playing well and Stroud is actually going to be starting and taking helm of the quarterback position there in Houston, I maybe you see 14, 21, 24 points at max, 24 max for the Texans, which means there still needs to be 20 points from the Ravens. Even with Lamar Jackson playing and as good of an offense and defense they have, I just don't trust this over-under. Probably stay away from it completely. The line is set at -10, but this would surprise you. What I would take here is the +10 for Houston. If what I believe could be true, Stroud, Dameon Pierce, and all of these great puzzle pieces put together, if they perform well, even with Collins as the number 1 wide receiver, I could see this Houston team putting up anywhere from 6 to 8 wins this season, and I could see maybe an upset this game, but I would definitely take the +10 for Houston. This next game for me is honestly the craziest line I've ever seen for all of NFL football in a while. So it's the Green Bay Packers versus Chicago Bears. Going to be played at Soldier Field in Chicago, 79 degrees Fahrenheit, partially cloudy with mostly sun. And this game will be taking place during the 4 o'clock hour, right, Eastern time. So we just finished up the 1 o'clock slots. Now we're heading into the evening games. And believe it or not, or mid-afternoon for that matter, believe it or not, I don't know how Chicago is only -1. Chicago is at home. We saw what Justin Fields did last year against, even with Aaron Rodgers and some of the better quarterbacks last year when they were playing. Justin Fields proved that he is a number 1 quarterback, and he could be a franchise quarterback there in Chicago. I love this team. I do think they finish with at least 7 wins. I don't know if they make the playoffs, but they're going to play well this season. And, yeah, I have them destroying the Packers. So I would take an alternate spread here of -6.5, and I would for sure, as my big max bet of the week, place it on the money line of Chicago. If it's only set at -1, I'm guessing the line's probably sitting at -120, -125 for the Bears. So I would take that for sure. Over-under is 43. Stay away from completely. Green Bay could put up points. They also could put up a dud. And we know Chicago is going to range anywhere from 14 to 24 points this week. So definitely take home the spread for Chicago, the alternate spread as well, and the money line. So all Chicago. The next game here is going to be the Las Vegas Raiders versus the Denver Broncos. Going to be played in Denver, Colorado. This is another 4 o'clock game, 4:25 to be exact. I believe weather is looking great. 84 degrees is the projection Fahrenheit, partially cloudy, And over under is sitting at 44 degrees, or 44 is the score. Sorry about that. With the over set at 44, again, this is hit or miss. Derek Carr is no longer there. O'Connell is going to be your quarterback over in Las Vegas. And then with Russell Wilson, I mean, I do trust him. I love this offense, so maybe we head over to that area. Right now, the spread's set at -3.5. I would buy the 1.5 points and try to get it down to -2. I think if they are going to win, and it could either be by 1, 2, could be by 3, could be by 4, could be by 7, could be by 8. I'm not sure on what the exact score differential is going to be, but I do have Denver winning this game. So definitely take either Denver money line, which is going to probably be -175 or -180 at -3.5, or just go with the safe bet here and take the spread so you get better odds, better value for your pick. For the next game, it's going to be the Eagles versus the Patriots. This game is also going to be mid-evening, so 4:25 start. Game will be played in New England, more specifically Foxborough, Massachusetts. We are going to be playing slightly decent weather, 76 degrees Fahrenheit, and it's going to be mainly or mostly sunny for the day. We are sitting at an over-under of 45. I would stay away from this completely. I think the Eagles are going to have to do the bulk of the offense for this over to even be realistic, right? You're looking at anywhere from 21 to 30 points from the Eagles, and then you need at least 2 scores from the Patriots or some field goals, and I just don't see that happening. So I would take the Eagles alternate spread at -6.5. Right now it's set at -4, but I would take the touchdown or more to get better odds. And plus, let's be honest, they're probably going to win by at least 2 touchdowns. And take the over for the team of the Eagles. If it's set right now at anywhere between over 17.5 to over 20.5, for sure take it. If it's over 21.5 or over 22.5, I'd probably stay away. I just, I see 4 touchdowns at most, maybe 5. This next game here, I believe, is going to place in the top 3 as the highest scoring game of the week for week 1 of the NFL 2023 to 2024 season. We have the Dolphins versus the Chargers. This game will be played in Inglewood, California, closer to Los Angeles, and this will be played during mid-evening, 4:25 p.m. SoFi Stadium. So it's going to be close to beautiful weather, 74 degrees Fahrenheit projected for on that day. The over-under is set at 51 by default right now. Like I said, by bookie, you can vary hour by hour. And, I would probably stay away from the over-under. It's for 51 to happen, you're close to 2 scores each quarter, right? 2 scores a quarter will get you to 56, and that's just 5 under, so a field goal and a safety equivalent for score. But, yeah, I'd just stay away from it. It seems like a little bit too much. If anything here, I would take the +3 for the Miami Dolphins. I like to. He's had a lot of preseason fuel kind of thrown his way. Luckily, it was from analysts saying that they were like judging his physical appearance, which is kind of ridiculous considering he's the NFL player and they're analysts and they're not actually playing in the game. There's a reason why he's on the team getting paid millions of dollars. Because he's that type of athlete, they shouldn't be discriminating him based on his, current weight if they think he's not really in football shape. He obviously is. So I'm taking Tua and the Dolphins. I'm taking the +3, and I'm taking the money line for sure. I think the Dolphins come out here swinging. Tyreek Hill, maybe 2 touchdowns. Devontae Parker could go off. You never know with this Dolphins team. It's electrifying. We saw what happened last year with this offense. I'm hoping they make a big postseason run this year. So definitely take Dolphins +3 and the money line. The next game here is going to be the Rams versus the Seahawks. This is one of the last mid-afternoon games. It will be played in Seattle, Washington. Everyone knows Seattle just doesn't matter who the quarterback is. They just don't lose at home. I actually, believe it or not, will have Seattle definitely covering the spread right now, which is set at -5 by default. And if it does adjust or fluctuate to -4 or -6, I would more than likely still take it. There's value there regardless. If you are feeling a little risky, for sure, up the points. Maybe even try to grab -7 to get the push. They're going to destroy the Rams. I'm not sure what the final score will be, but this over-under is definitely considered a trap in my opinion. 46.5 seems like way too many points considering the best offensive weapon for the Rams right now. is Cam Akers. And yeah, stay away completely from this Rams offense. Obviously, if Cooper Kupp is healthy, he's the best player, and then Cam Akers. But for right now, the Rams don't offer much from an offensive side of things or offensive standpoint. So I would take the Seahawks. Spread only, like I said, -5. If you're feeling risky, take the -7. But if not, it's the only thing I'm taking in this game. For Sunday Night Football, we're going to be having the Dallas Cowboys play the New York Giants. This game will be played in the Meadowlands, more specifically MetLife Stadium. 8:20 start. By the way, it's going to be covered by NBC. Feel free to tune in. Considering it's a nationally televised game, and there's going to be a lot of eyes on this, considering all of the, rumors set in place within the Dallas Cowboys camp at the moment. They're not sure who the starting quarterback will be moving forward. There's a lot of and ifs or buts for Dak Prescott, whether or not he will be their franchise quarterback or if they have to replace him. It's going to be a very interesting game. It's divisional. Whenever it's divisional for the NFC East, it seems to definitely pack some juiciness to it. It's definitely going to be worth the watch. -3.5 for Dallas. If I had to pick here, probably stay away from the spread. I think the value is actually just the Dallas money line. I do believe Dallas can win this game, but I'm a little iffy. I'm not sure really what's going to happen here. The over-under is 46.5. Believe it or not, I'm going to be taking the under completely. 46.5, way too many points. I think this is going to be a low-scoring affair. Like, if I had to guess, 21-17, 17-14, something really small. Again, it's not small, but considering where this over and under stands at the moment, I'm definitely going under. But I would take +3.5 actually on the Giants. I know the Cowboys might win by a slim margin, but just take the Giants +3.5. I think there's some insurance there. They could win this game by a field goal, by a couple points. I'm not sure. But as long as Saquon Barkley's there, they're playing at home, and it's prime time, I could see him shining. So +3.5 for the New York Giants. Now for the most interesting game of the week. Definitely it's in there for the most highly anticipated game, but definitely most intriguing, interesting game because of the acquisitions during the offseason. It's going to be the Buffalo Bills versus the Jets. We had two really cool acquisitions or transactions that took place during the previous offseason in the New York Jets camp. We have Aaron Rodgers now as your starting quarterback, replacing Zach Wilson, and then, believe it or not, Dalvin Cook coming over from the Minnesota Vikings. I think that's a cool fit because Breece Hall is going to be out. We're not sure on how many weeks. Dalvin Cook will be the starting running back for the time being. Not sure how long that will last, but it's going to be fun to watch. Over-under set at 46.5. I would probably stay away from that. It's right around probably where the final score will end. Not sure. It'll be by a couple points over, a couple points under, only because the Buffalo Bills defense is still legit. Even with Aaron Rodgers there, as old as he is, he could still put up some points, but I'm not sure it might be enough to cover that over. So it's going to be, if I had to pick anything, slightly under or just right around the 46. But like I said, stay away. Even though I say that it could go under, just stay away from it. I think it's too risky. I think it's a nail biter. You'll definitely be hoping that the last 2 minutes go by quick, whether you're on the over or under side. So it's not worth the risk or even worth the worry. But the line is very intriguing to me. -2.5 for Buffalo. I do think the Jets could win this. It's basically, it comes down to Aaron, right? If Aaron has a slow start, I think the Bills easily win this game. But because it's being played in the Jets, and I think Aaron could have a really good start in the first half with Garrett Wilson and Dalvin Cook there, you know what? I'm taking the Jets money line, not just +3.5 or +2.5, whatever it is. Just take the money line. I don't think there's much value in the spread here because I think the Jets outright win this, whether it's by a point or more. So just take the money line. I know there's insurance behind that spread, but if anything, it's probably going to be 3 or more. So just take the money line. Jets should win this game.